Hey, you alright? Welcome to another video. If you haven't been here before, my name is Georgia Jo and this is my channel where I talk all things books. So today I thought I would go through my anticipated releases for 2025. Obviously we're nearly like a month into the year now and I was wondering if I should film this, if I should still put these kind of videos out, because I've not been filming for like a month. So I thought, is it too late to do them? But I realised it's not that deep, you know? I can still film them. I could film it in June if I wanted to for the anticipated releases for the rest of the year. So yeah, I just thought, stop overthinking it. You can still film it, you can still put it out. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, I thought let's just go through the books I'm most excited for. There's more, definitely more than this list, but I just chose 10 of them. Some of which a lot of people are like excited for, some of which I've not really heard loads about. So yeah, let's just get into it. I'm pretty sure they are in order of when they're going to be released. I made a little like Goodreads shelf for them, so yeah, hopefully they are in order, but let's just get into it. Okay, so the first one we have is Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. So this is, I think it's probably comes under a mystery. It's basically following Poe Webb, who has a true crime podcast, and she gets people on anonymously who talk about like the crimes that they have committed. I don't know if they're just talking about it, if they're sort of giving details, I'm not too sure. She does say that, you know, she can't guarantee the police aren't going to come after you if you come on the podcast, but if you do go on it, it tends to come with a little bit of like infamousy and stuff like that, and a little bit of attention, which I think often when you watch, you know, programs about crimes, that's especially like serial killer crimes, that's sometimes what they want, is the attention. So yeah, it's following her podcast, and then one day someone comes on who is saying they are the murderer of Poe Webb's mum. However, she actually murdered her mum's murderer, so she's wondering who this person is. So it's kind of following that mystery, like how come they're saying they murdered her? Did they actually? She's got the wrong person, she murdered the wrong person. I don't know. I'm not, obviously don't know where the story's going to go, but I just thought that sounded really interesting. And yeah, I think it's going to be not a nice murder mystery, that doesn't really make sense, but one of those murder mysteries that you can really get your teeth into and read it like you want to sit and read it in a day type thing, or a couple of days. So it comes out on the 28th of January, and yeah, I just thought it sounded really good. I've not read anything by Carter Wilson before, but hopefully maybe it'll be a new author for me. I don't know if they've got other books out. Oh yeah, they've got quite a lot of books out, so yeah, maybe it'll be a new author that I found, who knows. But I did think that sounded really good. So yeah, that is Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. Next up we've got Tea You at the Altar by Rebecca Thorne. So this is the third one in the Tomes and Tea series. The first one was Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, and the second one is A Pirate's Life for Tea. So I'm currently reading A Pirate's Life for Tea, but I have obviously read the first one and I really enjoyed it. It was basically following Kianth and Raina. Kianth is the most powerful mage, I think she's an earth mage, and Raina was part of the Queen's Guard, and then they both realised they wanted a much simpler life. They didn't want to be fighting, they didn't want to be in battles and stuff like that anymore, so they decided to run away and open their own tea and bookshop. So it's like a cosy fantasy. It's very much on the lines of Legends and Lattes. I'm pretty sure this author actually said that her book was heavily inspired by them, and you can definitely see parts where it's been inspired by Legends and Lattes, but it also follows its own storyline. Kianth and Raina also are in A Pirate's Life for Tea, so there's like, it's a little bit of romance, a bit of a cosy fantasy, and there's also a storyline that's following on to the second book. I don't know if it's going to follow on to the third, if it's going to be solved, I'm not sure, but I'm really enjoying it. They're just really lovely, easy reads when it's like dark outside and it's raining or it's been snowing recently, and you could just get cuddled up with a blanket and read. I'm not sure what Tea You at the Altar is actually going to be about, and I don't want to read the synopsis with it being part of a series. I don't want to ruin anything. I'm assuming it's going to be a wedding. Some kind of wedding. So Can't Spell Treason Without Tea is obviously they're committing treason because they're leaving, like she's leaving the Queen's Guard, and then they've setting up a tea shop. And then Pirate's Life for Tea also follows, as well as Kianth and Raina, it follows a pirate who I can't remember her name yet, and a constable, so it's following their little relationship as well as Keantha and Raina. And then this one, I'm assuming, is going to have a wedding involved. So yeah, really excited to read it. I think it's just so far it's been a lovely series to read. So yeah, that one comes out, let me double check, on the 4th of March. So a couple of months to wait yet, but looking forward to it nonetheless. And then also out on the 4th of March is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. So this is the 3rd book in the Legendborn cycle. Now I read Legendborn, I feel like a bit ago now. Let me double check when I actually read it. So I read it in September 2023 and I've not reread it yet. And then I read Bookmarked in October 2023. I definitely am going to have to reread them before Oathbound comes out, because I know it's like I'm pretty sure it comes under like a dark academia fantasy. There's like a secret society, and there's like the plot line of like King Arthur and that kind of, there's like a lot going on. There's a lot going on in these books, but I definitely recommend them. I really enjoyed them when I was reading it. I think Legendborn took me a little bit to get into because I was sort of not reading those type of books at the time. So like I think I was reading a lot of dark romance and romance in general and stuff like that. So there is so much information and a lot of stuff going on that it definitely took me a bit to get into. But once you're in the storyline, you're in it, you know. There's like a subplot of romance, and yeah, there's just so much going on. I'm not even sure I can properly explain it, like the amount that's going on, but it is a really, really good series. I'd really recommend it. Like I say, I'm definitely going to have to reread them because I can't completely remember what was happening. You know, I've read a few books since then, and I am very much, once I put a book down and I've started another one, I've forgotten that book, you know. So yeah, but anyway, this is the 3rd one in the series. I don't know how many there's gonna be in total. I want to say there's going to be 4, but I'm not 100% sure. And obviously there's been a big gap between the second one, Bloodmarked, being released and Oathbound. I think like over 2 years maybe since, or not, no, it won't be over 2 years. So, oh yeah, it actually is over 2 years. So Bloodmarked got released in November 2022, and then this is being released in March 2025. So over 2 years since that one's been released. So yeah, I've definitely forgotten it, but I'm going to reread them and then in time for Oathbound to come out. I definitely recommend it. It is a really, really good series, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the rest of it. Okay, next up we have another one where I've not read this author before, and it is Meet Me at the Crossroads by Megan Giddings. So this one says, on an ordinary summer morning, the world is changed by the appearance of 7 mysterious doors that seemingly lead to another world. People are, of course, mesmerised and intrigued. A new dimension filled with beauty and resources beckons them to step into an adventure, but perhaps inevitably people soon learn that what looks like paradise may very well be filled with danger. Ayana and Olivia, 2 black Midwestern teens and 2 sisters, have different ideas of what may live in the world beyond, but will their personal bond endure such wanton exploration? And when one of them goes missing, will the other find solace of her own, and will she uncover the circumstances of what truly happened to her once constant companion and best friend? Megan Giddings brings her customarily brilliant and eye-opening powers of storytelling to give us a story that dazzles the senses and bewitches the mind. Meet Me at the Crossroads is an unforgettable novel about faith, love and family from one of today's most exciting and surprising young writers. I think that sounds so interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. So another one of I guess a little bit of fantasy, because obviously these doors have just opened up, but also a bit of a mystery. Someone's gone missing. Is a sister gonna be able to find her? Did it say they were twins? Yeah, twin sisters. Is a twin gonna be able to find her? Is it gonna be a bit of twin like intuition involved? I don't know, but I think that sounds so interesting. A little bit of it, maybe it's not fantasy, it'd be more like magical realism, I guess. A little bit like Ashley Poston's books where they're set in the real world but magical things are happening. A little bit like that. So this one comes out on the 3rd of June. It's actually only 320 pages, which I think it's quite short really, but I suppose with a mystery maybe it's not. But yeah, I think that sounds really interesting. I don't think I've really read anything like that before. So that is Meet Me at the Crossroads by Megan Giddings. Like I say, that comes out in June, and yeah, I just think that sounds really interesting. Hopefully again I will have found another new author. And then speaking of Ashley Poston, she has got a new book out called Sounds Like Love, which comes out on the 17th of June. I think I've read all of Ashley Poston's books now, and yeah, I think the latest one that came out last year, which a novel love story, I wasn't a massive fan of it. I enjoyed it, but I think maybe I was expecting a bit more. But I do enjoy her writing. I think I definitely recommend 7 Year Slip, and I'd recommend Dead Romantics. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one coming out. So this one says, a hit-making songwriter and bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake in the next sparkling magical book from Ashley Poston. Joni Lark is living the dream. She's one of the most coveted songwriters in LA, and she can't seem to write. There's an emptiness inside her, nothing seems to fill it. When she returns to her hometown of Vienna Shores, North Carolina, she hopes that the sand, the surf, and the concerts at the Revelry, her family's music venue, will spark her inspiration. But when she gets there, nothing is how she left it. Her best friend is avoiding her, her mother's memories are fading fast, and the Revelry is closing. How can she think about writing her next song when everything is changing without her? Until she hears it, a melody in her head, lyricless and half-formed, and an alluring and addictive voice to go with it, belonging, apparently, to a wry musician with hang-ups of his own. Surely he's a figment of her overworked imagination, but then the very real man attached to the voice shows up in the Vienna Shores. He's aggravating and gruff on the outside, nothing like the sweet, funny voice in Joni's head, and he has a plan. They'll finish the song haunting them both, break their connection, and hope they don't risk their hearts in the process, because that song stuck in their heads. Maybe it's there for a reason. Oh, I think that sounds so good. So obviously it's going to be a romance like Ashley Poston's books are, but they have some kind of magical connection. They're hearing each other in their heads. They're both sort of halves of a whole. And yeah, I think that sounds so interesting. Maybe they're sort of meant to be, you know. I'm sure they're going to fall in love and live happily ever after. And it's going to be a lovely ending. But yeah, very excited to read that. Like I say, I do really like Ashley Poston's writing. So yeah, looking forward to that very much. Next up is one that actually was on my 2024 list. But it must have got delayed because I'm sure it was meant to come out last year. But now it's coming out on the 15th of July this year, and it is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. So this is the same author that wrote A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, I think it was called, and it is Sangu Mandana. So this one is about a witch who has got a second chance to get her magical powers and her life back on track. So it's following Sarah Swan, who used to be one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead, lost most of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her guild. Now she, slightly reluctantly and just a bit grumpily, helps her aunt run an enchanted inn in Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky guest shenanigans, tries to keep said talking fox in check, and longs for the future that seems lost to her. But then she finds out about an old spell that could hold the key to restoring her power. Enter Luke Larson, handsome and icy magical historian who arrives on a dark winter evening and might just know how to unlock the spell's secrets. Luke has absolutely no interest in getting involved in the madcap goings-on of the inn, and is definitely not about to let a certain bewitching innkeeper past his walls, so no one is more surprised than he is when he agrees to help Sarah with her spell. Worse, he might actually be thawing. Running an inn, reclaiming lost magic, and staying one step ahead of the watchful guild is a lot for anyone. But Sarah Swan is about to discover that she doesn't have to do it alone, and that the weird, wonderful family she's made might be the best magic of all. So it sounds a little found family, a little grumpy sunshine, and he's going to end up being like a sunshine for her, that type of thing. And yeah, they'll work together and probably get her magic back, and everyone will live happily ever after, I'm sure. I love a little talking animal, a talking familiar. I think that's always so cute, especially if it's a little grumpy one or a little sassy one. Oh, I think that adds so much to a story. So yeah, really excited to read this. I remember enjoying The Very Secret Society of Regular Witches, so hopefully I'm going to enjoy this one as well. And yeah, it just sounds like a lovely little romance with a bit of magic, a bit of witches. Maybe it'll want it'll be one that's read in like October time maybe. But yeah, it comes out in July. Yeah, the 15th of July. So yeah, that is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Okay, next up we have Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. So this one, it doesn't have a, I don't think the front cover has been released yet, so I had no idea what it's going to look like. But Holly Jackson is the author of The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The 5 Survive, and the reappearance of Rachel Price. Reappearance of Rachel Price I really enjoyed. I'm pretty sure I might have given it 5 stars. If not, it was like a 4.5, 4.75, that kind of realm. I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to reading this. She's definitely probably an author by author for me, I would say, at this point, because I really enjoyed all of her books. Pretty sure 5 Survive might have been my first 5-star of last year, actually, now I think about it. So yeah, really enjoy her writing. So this one says, in 7 days, Jet Mason will be dead. Jet is the daughter of one of the wealthiest families in Woodstock, Vermont. 27 years old, she's still waiting for her life to begin. She'll do it later, she always says. She has time until on the night of Halloween, Jet is violently attacked by an unseen intruder. She suffers a catastrophic brain injury. The doctor is certain that within a week she'll suffer a deadly aneurysm. Jet never thought of herself as having enemies, but now she looks at everyone in her family, her ex-best friend turned sister-in-law, her former boyfriend. She only has 7 days, and as her condition deteriorates, she only has her childhood friend Billy for help, but nevertheless she's absolutely determined to finally finish. Jet is going to solve her own murder. So obviously Holly Jackson is doing what Holly Jackson does best. I'm writing another, I'm assuming it's going to be YA, like murder mystery. I've got I'm guessing two main leads with Jet and Billy, and they're going to be sort of the equivalent of Pip and, is it Raj that he's called in Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So yeah, really enjoying it. Love a little duo trying to figure out a murder, this being her own murder before she dies. I wonder if she'll end up surviving or if she is actually going to die. I'm not sure. Maybe it's going to be a little bit sad at the end. Who knows? I don't know. But I do really enjoy Holly Jackson's writing. I feel like it's the kind of writing that I get through so easily because I'm really enjoying it, and I really enjoy the storylines and the characters. So yeah, really looking forward to this. And this one comes out in July again, the 22nd of July. So it's definitely one that I'll be getting when it comes out, I think. So yeah, that is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. And then we've just got 3 left. So this one is by Lucy Jane Wood and it is called Uncharmed. It's the second one in the Rewitched series. So this one is meant to come out in September, the 25th of September 2025. There's actually no details about it on Goodreads, not the front cover, there's no sort of description for it. So I don't know what it's about. However, the first one, Rewitched, it's kind of, I guess, like a cozy, magical side of fantasy, I suppose. It was basically about a witch who, she was just turning 30, and at 30 you either gain all of your powers or you completely lose them. And so it was going through her life for the past 15 years since her powers were awakened when she was 15, of how she's used them, is she worthy of having the magic, and sort of going through, she basically goes through like a trial, and they decide if she's worthy of keeping a magic or not. And it was just a really lovely book to read. I really enjoyed it. There was a few scenes in it that felt very like nostalgic. I just remember there being one scene where she was in a kitchen and she was like pointing a finger and things are moving, very like Matilda style, you know, when there's that scene where she's like everything's moving around her, very much like that. And also very much similar to Molly Weasley in Harry Potter, where she has like a kitchen, like the dishes are cleaning themselves and the taters are peeling themselves and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a really lovely book to read. Also a really good plot line, as well as the sort of nostalgic feel of it and the cozy feel of it. There was a lot going on, like twists and turns, things that I didn't see coming, characters that I really enjoyed, and yeah, very much enjoyed it. So I'm really looking forward to this one coming out. Like I say, I don't know what it's going to be about. I'm assuming it's going to be similar, where a witch is, something's happening with a witch's powers, but I don't know. Who knows? No idea. Goodreads doesn't even know, so how am I meant to, you know? But I am very excited to read it. I did really enjoy the first one, so yeah, looking forward to it. It's called Uncharmed. I don't know if it's going to stick with that name, if it's going to be different. Don't know what the cover art is, don't know anything about it, but no, I'm going to read it when it comes out. So yeah, that is Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood. And then the penultimate book, again, it doesn't have any cover art and it doesn't have a book description. It comes out on the 25th of September again, and it is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman. So this series, I've read the first 3. I've not read the 4th one yet, but I do have it. It's going to be read this year before this one comes out. But the Thursday Murder Club is basically set in an old folks home, and it's following 4 of the old people, the old residents that live there, who all have come from different walks of life. They've all had different experiences, different jobs, stuff like that, but they've all ended up in the same old folks home. And they basically have a club on a Thursday where they solve unsolved murders, like cold cases, but then things end up happening at the actual old folks home, so they have current murders or crimes to solve. And they're just like very British old people, you know, very typically British old people, where they're saying some things where you're a little bit like, oh, you can't word things like that now, and then very much like butting in where they're not wanted and wanting to be involved and stuff like that, and getting their own way because they look like innocent old people, stuff like that. And it's just really enjoyable. I really love the cast. It's also going to be, I think it's going to be a series. I think it makes more sense for it to be a series rather than a film, but I'm not sure which one it's going to be. But I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'll definitely be watching that when it comes out, assuming it's not out yet. I don't think it is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. And yeah, they're just lovely murder mysteries set in Britain, old folks home. There's very like British mannerisms and stuff like that, which I feel like you don't often see. A lot of times things are set in America, so it's really nice to see, you know, a whole series set in places you've been to, you know, you can recognise the things that they're saying. So yeah, really enjoyed the series. Like I say, I've still got the 4th one to read, but the 5th one is due out in September. So it's the Thursday Murder Club 5. It's not going to be called that, I'm sure. It's going to have its own name, but it's not come out yet what the name is, and that's by Richard Osman. And then last but not least, we have the 2nd book in probably my favourite book I read last year, which was called Blood of Hercules. I really enjoyed it. I've actually already reread it, and I think it came out in like October or November, I think. And the 2nd one is due out on the 28th of October, so I've still got a long way to wait for it, but it is the Bonds of Hercules. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna really like this book because I'm not typically a fan of like Greek mythology type stories, but this one, like I say, I really enjoyed. I loved the main lead. It was basically following Alexis, who is an orphan with really horrible like foster parents. They're like really poor, they're living in this awful caravan, and the parents aren't looking after her, and she has this like friend snake that only she can see. And then one day she goes to do a test, and you have to put a blood like sample on your test, and it turns out she's actually from Olympus. So she ends up at this Spartan War Academy, where basically if you survive the trials that they've been set, then you become an immortal god. So it's either survive, become an immortal god, or die. They're the options. And you've got the Olympians on one side, which are seen as like the good guys. They've got the powers that are used to help people. And then you've got the, I think it's pronounced Thonics, on the other side, who are the bad ones because their powers typically hurt people. But they've come together and form the like Spartans. I really enjoyed the main character in the first one, Alexis, because it's set in first person, so you're very much getting like her thoughts and feelings, but you're also getting her like inner monologue, which is very like self-deprecating, and it's quite like funny to read. It's very much the comic relief when it comes to the sort of fighting and the gruesome bits of it. And yeah, I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say much more than that, but I really would recommend like I say, I enjoyed it so much. I gave it 5 stars, probably my favourite book, like I say, of last year. So I'm really looking forward to this. This might be my most anticipated one, and it's just a shame that I've got to wait till October for it to come out. But yeah, this one is The Bonds of Hercules and by Jasmine Mass, and yeah, really looking forward to this one. Hopefully it's going to be as good as the first one. And yeah, that is the end of my list. So they are 10 of my most anticipated reads. Like I say, there are a few more, but I feel like a lot of people spoke about the ones that I'm excited for, like the new Emily Henry book. I'm pretty sure there's a new Boys of Tommen book coming out this year. I think it's recently been released in like April or something. There's Cursebound, which might actually already be out, which is the second in the Feybound trilogy, which I'm not necessarily like can't wait to read that, but I'll definitely read it at some point. There's a new one by Cassandra Clare, which is part of the, oh, what's that series where the book's like gold and red, Swordcatcher. There's a second one in that one coming out, which I'm excited to read. So yeah, there's a few other books coming out, but they are the ones that I thought were worth mentioning, that I'm really excited to read. And yeah, that is the end of today's video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did and you'd like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But other than that, I will see you in a bit.